How you doing, guys? This is Nick from TruthBlitz, and I have Crypto Blood with me right now for an interview. And how you doing, man?
How you guys doing?
Good.
TruthBlitz, what's going on, man?
Not much. I saw when Cliff High mentioned you. I started following you, and I like the stuff that you had to say. You're very educated in cryptos. You know what you're talking about. So, that's what I like to see. I don't like people who go out there, because I haven't been in this space all that long. So I don't like people who go out there and mislead people.
Right.
Even if they aren't doing it intentionally, there's
Right.
a lot of people misleading other people, giving them, hopes that they're gonna get rich quick, or
Mhm.
or the total other end of the spectrum. Don't get into cryptos because it's in a
Yeah.
bubble or it's a scam, it's a Ponzi scheme. So, you know what you're
Yeah.
talking about. You've been in this a while. So, how long have you been in the crypto game?
Yeah, so I started in 2013, late 2013. Found out about it, oddly enough, through Zero Hedge.
Okay.
I don't know if you follow Zero Hedge. I
Yep.
love that blog.
Definitely.
Been following them since actually even before 13, man, like 2011.
Yep.
12, man. So I found out a bit about Bitcoin at that point. I'm in the tech industry, and also in finance. I used to run a CTA, a commodity trading advisory firm, with a buddy of mine down in Atlanta. We used to trade futures and forex.
Okay.
So I have an understanding of financial markets, currencies, so on and so forth. So when I saw Bitcoin, man, the concept, I immediately put two and two together and said, "Wow, this is it. Like, this is the next the next move up." You had like the industrial age, you had like all these different ages in civilization,
Yep.
and I think this is definitely the next one. Aside from maybe like quantum computing, that'll be another leg up as well. But so I've been in the game since 2013 within the crypto space, and here I am today.
So, I remember hearing about Bitcoin, more than just a couple times too, back in 2012, 2011 even. And it's funny because I saw your video 2 days ago, I think it was, about people back then when it was in its earlier stages, Bitcoin, saying that it was a scam and it was a Ponzi scheme or whatever. And I was one of those people. I never took the time to actually go and do my own research. All I heard was, okay, it's a digital currency that you have to pay for with fiat money. So automatically in my head, without doing any research, it can be hacked, somebody can steal from you, it's some kind of scam. So I never gave it any thought, and man, I'm kicking myself in the ass for that now, because this is when it was just a couple bucks each. Now look where we are today, back up to 28 and change last I checked.
But it's still early, man.
Right.
And that's the thing that I just want your viewers to understand. If $2,800 sounds like a lot, I mean, it is, relatively speaking. $2,800 of anything is fairly, for your normal 99% of the country, or the world, that's a lot of money.
Right.
But you have to think of it from the standpoint of what it's doing as a technology, less as a currency. The blockchain technology behind that whole concept is what the value of it is, the value added to society is. So, we're still early, man. We're still early in the game.
Right, and I like to like Bix Weir puts it, and this is so true. It's like I agree, we are still in the early phases, because if you look how many people, maybe 1 or 2 out of 10 people have heard of Bitcoin but don't own any. So you got to look at how many people in the world actually own Bitcoin, and it's such a small amount relative to the population of the world. It's crazy.
Tiny, man. I did a poll in the Webbox chat room a couple nights ago, and I just asked people in there, out of the entire world, how many, what percentage do you think know about Bitcoin? And most people, me included, I put 0.01%, or actually 0.1%. So a tenth of a percent. And then I kind of scaled up from there, a half a percent, 1%. I think I did like 2% and then 5% was the high range. But even after I did that poll, man, I went back and crunched the numbers, and it's not even a tenth of a percent of people that know about Bitcoin in the world. Our population is about 7.5 billion. So, that at 0.1%, we're looking at 75 million people know about Bitcoin, and that's not true. We're well under that. I would say roughly 20 million, or maybe even less, know about Bitcoin.
Yep. Yeah, so that ought to tell you right there that we're nowhere near in a bubble.
Nowhere.
So I've been, and another reason, and I saw that you touched on this the other day. I was listening to people like Mike Adams, the Health Ranger, and Chris Duane. And Mike Adams has been anti-Bitcoin since its inception, since it started gaining a little bit of traction. So, I like what he has to say, and I agree with his viewpoints on many, many things.
Right.
But I made the foolish mistake of listening to people like that back then, and he's still saying it's he's been saying it's in a bubble since it was $10 each. You know what I mean? Now look where we are. So, and it's like people like that, I feel, have been so anti-Bitcoin for so long that they can't swallow their pride enough to say that they were wrong.
I did a video yesterday. I'm not trying to plug myself here, TruthBlitz, but I did a video on that very topic yesterday. Man.
I saw it, yep.
Chris Duane and Peter Schiff. And, with Peter Schiff, I can kind of see, he's very business oriented. He has a lot of ties to the precious metal community.
Yep.
So I can see how possibly he can see that as a threat. Chris Duane, I don't follow much, but I know he has his hands in silver.
Yep.
And making pneumatic coins. So I understand that, but come on, man. It's just like, you can't say it's in a bubble. You can't say it's a scam. Like, those narratives are over.
Right.
We need to start thinking in a different way and talking about cryptocurrencies in a different manner and start taking them seriously.
Yep. No, I wholeheartedly agree with that. And, it's, to me, it's, people like that have been leading their subscribers in their following in the wrong direction for so long. And it's, I keep seeing these articles that, I don't know if you know who Mike Adams is, but, he's got actually a lot of different websites, Natural News, and, he's got a bunch of them, but he always puts out these videos. He was all over it when Bitcoin, if you want to call it, crashed. Went back down to, right around 1800 shortly, for a short period of time the other day. He put an article right out, Bitcoin's crashing, and look how quickly it recovered, almost right back up to where it was. So,
I've seen, let me see, I'm trying to count. I've seen 5 crashes, I believe, 5 or 6 major pullbacks in Bitcoin since I've been in it. And so, it's not going to happen, man. It's not going back to zero. It's just not. First of all, we've got too much smart money starting to pool their assets and resources together into this industry. So once smart money, it's just like in finance, man. You follow the money. So once you see smart money, hedge funds. Really, to be honest with you, when I saw, I think it was Andreessen Horowitz, his VC out in Cali, Silicon Valley. When I saw he invested $30 million into Coinbase back in 2015, I want to say, that at that very point, and that may have not been the first VC funded venture, but that was the first that I was, that I knew. At that point, I knew. I said, this is a game that's going to be around.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and there's no fooling the blockchain. That's why it's such an awesome technology. The blockchain doesn't lie. You know what I mean? And
Nope.
you know, there's no screwing somebody over. You know, unless it's through scams. You know, which there are many, and people see an opportunity to get rich and they take it. And there's so many of these scams out there. But as far
earlier in the days, even before me, and it could have possibly happened when I started, but a little bit more on the technical side, you could possibly back then do what's called a double spend, and so essentially that's sending two transactions at the same time to two different locations and trying to beat basically the miners from proofing that transaction. So there used to be a way, but now I believe that's pretty much impossible. There are too many minor nodes on the network.
Yep.
It's a pretty fully secure network now, definitely.
Yeah. Talking about the scams, though, I just, we were talking before the video. I just, and I don't know how long it's been up there, but the EtherDelta scam, I came across someone spamming Reggie Middleton's page with a fake EtherDelta. It looks just like the EtherDelta exchange, except there's one letter off in the web address, and people were sending their money over there and losing it. And I hate seeing people get screwed over because a lot of people who are just getting into this, they don't know so well, and they put their money in, and then they get scammed, and it leaves a bad taste in people's mouth about this whole space. And but it's just like with anything. There's going to be scammers out there. There's going to be dishonest people. So there's just a hurdle that we have to, overcome. And, the hacking, the ICO hacking, that's, another one that just kind of really started hitting heavy. The Insurex and, what was the other one that CoinDash, yep. So, I mean, people gotta be careful.
I think to that point, it's very unfortunate, especially for the newcomers to the industry, to this space. However, what I hope it does is allow people to understand that we're transitioning into being your own bank, right? Being in control of your own money, your own currency. You own it. You take full responsibility for it. So hopefully it's not a deterrent from the industry and the space, but more so a lesson to be learned. So I'm hoping that people take that and we just become more and more conscious of how to safeguard ourselves against attacks and just be very vigilant on privacy and just taking ownership of it, man.
Yeah.
And that's I think that's where we're going, and I think that's a good thing for our society too, because I think our hands have been held for so long. It's time for us to kind of break out of that and from up under the regime, and it'll be beneficial in the long run.
Right. And back to what I was saying before about Bix Weir, he has the theory that it's the good guys versus the bad guys, basically, and you got these people who are trying to take out the system from within, and that could very well be, and with the blockchain, it's going to help them be able to do that. As you're in finance, our money is worthless. It's not worth the paper it's printed on. So, eventually we're going to see a collapse that's worse than 2008, 2009. I wholeheartedly believe that. And I think at that point, we're going to see the price of cryptos explode because people are going to be looking for a place to put their money before it's devalued to the point that, it's toilet paper. So,
right. To that point, I was talking to a buddy of mine, and I'm like, man, this crypto space is really a black hole for fiat currency. And what I mean by that is these central banks can print an unlimited amount of fiat. So as the scenario you said, as we collapse, in the fiat system, you're going to see an unlimited amount of fiat going into a finite space of crypto.
Yep.
So you can already know, you can see and just kind of understand what's going to happen to the cryptocurrency space. It's going to be a wealth transfer that we've never seen before in human history, in my opinion.
Right. Now I saw your video this morning. What do you think about? I don't know. Have you heard the James McAfee's prediction the other day?
Yes, 500,000 Bitcoin in 3 years.
Yep, at least 500,000.
500,000. I'm sorry.
Yeah. What do you think about that? Do you think that's and I know he's not the first one who said that.
No.
The CEO of Snapchat actually said that a few months back, I believe. That same number. And do you think that's well within the realm of possibility?
The number 500,000, absolutely.
Okay.
Trace Mayer, one of the pioneering guys in Bitcoin, even way back, 2014 was saying, 2013 was saying $1 million of tokens.
Mm-hmm.
It's not so much for me. It's not the price. It's the time frame that I want people to kind of think about and consider.
Right. So
with Bitcoin at 500,000, let's just say we're at 3,000. I'm just using that. What's the market cap of Bitcoin right now? Is it 42 billion?
I'm gonna put it on the screen right now. Right now, it's 45.
45 billion. So if we move a decimal point over and have Bitcoin at 23, let's just say 30,000,
mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
So that'll put us at 400 roughly billion. And then from there, what's that, 20,000? Another decimal point will be, so that's $4 trillion market cap for Bitcoin.
Right.
In 3 years, it's possible, I guess, because if you think of, just a fraction of the financial money come over, we get just a fraction of that $1 trillion. I think it's like 11 or 12 trillion dollar market. We get just 10% of that. I don't see 500,000. But again, it just depends on what happens within the next 3 years.
Right.
If we have a crazy financial just meltdown, everyone's running for the hills. Yeah.
Right.
In 3 years, you can see $200,000, $300,000, $500,000 in tokens.
Right. And now you talked about just a fraction of the financial money coming in, and now I'm going to talk about Veritasium a little bit. I remember Bix talking maybe about a month ago about, because Reggie, he is a visionary. That he is doing big things with Veritasium. Now, if the Jamaican Stock Exchange sees success with it, all other exchanges are going to follow all over the world. And he's working with other countries right now. He hasn't really said too much, but it looks like he might be working with the United Arab Emirates right now to try to get something. And don't quote me on that, but I think I remember seeing him tweet something about that. And he's got other things in the works that he hasn't really went public with yet. But if we ever saw the New York Stock Exchange start using Veritasium, like Bix said, that even if a fraction of the money that runs through this was put into Veritasium, those things could be in the millions per token. And yeah, it's wishful thinking. I would love to see that happen, because that means even the small amount that I have, I'll be all set. But
exactly. Again, the case with Veritasium, the market cap, it has the highest one now, but they didn't have a lot of coins in float, so a lot of them, during the ICO.
Yep.
I think it's a very small fraction of those coins in market. So that's why you can see it go from $6, $2 from an ICO up to $200.
Right.
because it's a float. They're on a lot of coins.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I think he's got like 90. He's holding like 99% of the float.
I think that he sold 2 million, I believe he said, in the ICO, and then he's holding on to the rest, and they're gonna slowly be given out or sold, over time.
To like the different governments or something, right?
Right. Yeah.
Like
Yep. So, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I can see Veritasium very high, man. I mean, definitely.
I mean, the webbot talks about 1-to-1 with Bitcoin next year.
Yeah, but right, yeah.
So
Bitcoin next year is supposed to be, according to webbot, $14,000.
Right.
$18,000. So
yeah. So that's, I'm keeping my fingers crossed, man, because that's really exciting news to hear stuff like that. And I don't think the webbot has really been that wrong on cryptos to date. I think he's been pretty dead on, Cliff.
It's been very wrong on precious
silver,
metals.
Right.
For whatever reason. I was talking to my buddy, man. We're both
manipulation.
Go ahead.
I was just saying it's because of the manipulation. The silver.
Right. So that's what I was saying. Like, I wonder why Cliff's reports on that are so off. He's seen people talking about it. So yeah, it has to be the manipulation of a very few that is offsetting the predictability nature of what everyone else is saying.
Right. And that's, you look at some of the paper trades in the silver market, they're trading more a day than there is silver in circulation. So, that'll tell you right there that, you can't do that with cryptocurrency. So,
not yet. So
right.
My concern with that is once we start to see those ETF assets or instruments come to the market, I'm concerned that will be a venue or an avenue for Wall Street and the cartel to start manipulating the prices of Bitcoin.
Right. And see, Goldman Sachs just got their patent approved for their own blockchain and cryptocurrency. I feel sorry for the sucker who buys into that, man. I wouldn't.
And that just defeats the whole purpose of the principle of Satoshi Nakamoto's whole ideology and idea behind is to not have a centralized, person or entity controlling a currency or a token. So I just don't see the point of it. I'm gonna be honest with you. There's a lot of smart people over there at Goldman Sachs. They need to call me or shoot me an email and tell me how that's gonna work. I don't know. Right.
Yeah. And again, with the Veritasium, if Reggie can, replace the COMEX with Veritasium, that'll be the end of silver manipulation. And and I know there's this whole war going on between the precious metal guys and the crypto guys. And there's some who are just so dead set against cryptos that they won't embrace them whatsoever. Whereas, really the crypto guys and the precious metal guys are really, we're all on the same side as far as,
on the same side.
You know what I mean?
We're on the same side. And I really think that cryptos are going to be, it's going to be, precious metals is going to have a come to Jesus, come to crypto moment, because really cryptos are going to save the precious metals.
Right.
Because what's going to happen is, in my opinion, we're going to be able to circumvent the COMEX, and individuals will be able to trade silver and take delivery on it. Silver, gold, any commodity at some point, and maybe Reggie's system is going to be able to do that in the future. I'm hoping so. We'll be able to circumvent the COMEX and really see true price discovery for gold, for silver, for palladium and platinum and all those. So I think that's just what I feel is going to happen.
Yep.
And I just think precious metal people need to embrace this space.
Right. I agree. I definitely do. What's your feelings on Litecoin? I know you mentioned that today in your video, and I know going back to Bix, he says that he believes, and I think the webbot said it also, that Litecoin is going to end up taking off. And if you do the math, it is a capped coin, and it's capped at, I believe,
60 billion.
Yeah,
I mean, 60 million.
It's about 4 times more than Bitcoin. So
80 million, something like that.
Yeah, I think it's 80. Yeah, he sees it going 4-to-1 with Bitcoin in the not too distant future. I know you did the calculations today. With supply.
It's just not going to happen by August. That's all I'm saying. Like,
right.
I definitely see it happening. But I didn't see big video on it, but I heard that someone was saying in the chat in the webbot room last night that he said August, September, it'll be 500.
I don't remember hearing him put an actual date on it, but
Okay.
but he did say that he sees it taking off, like it could be in the coming weeks. Now he didn't say to where, but he said
okay.
taking off exponentially in price. So.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I definitely can see Litecoin at about $100, 120, essentially doubling its market cap.
Yeah.
Within the next month or two.
There's supposed to be some big
3.
news.
Definitely.
Yeah, there's supposed to be some big news coming out August 1st from MIT. MIT is working on it, I guess. So
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
I know.
So definitely, I can see another $2 billion going into Litecoin. I think their market cap is $2.4 billion right now.
Yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah.
I can see another $2 billion going into there in the next 2-3 months.
Mm-hmm.
That'll double your there. You're right at $90, $100 a coin, and many times when you have a run up, you overshoot.
Mm-hmm.
Where market efficiency is, market price efficiency is. So you may see 120, 130,
right.
And it may come back down to and settle around $100, 110.
Right. Yeah, I know a lot of people sold out of Bitcoin and bought into Litecoin, recently, and
so I did a light. So when I got into crypto, of course, the first coin I had to buy was Bitcoin.
Right.
But then I eventually ended up buying Litecoin in 2014-ish at 55 cents a coin.
Mm-hmm.
I had Litecoin at 55 cents a coin. So I had a whole bunch of Litecoin. I rolled it up all the way to $28. And of course, I sold as I went up. But recently this year, I did another trade with Litecoin. I knew that, the gap between Bitcoin and Litecoin had gone so wide. I felt like there were some market inefficiencies there. So I ended up buying Litecoin in March. And I started loading in about $3.80, $3.90, $4, around there. I was loading in. And it blew up, man. It went all the way up to $21, $22.
Yep.
I sold out, and then I ended up actually getting back in, and I got back in before the Coinbase announcement.
Yep. Right. Now, do you do any day trading at all, or are you just?
Not right now.
Yeah.
I'm just too busy. I'm planning on doing some algorithm.
Okay.
Building some algos for Bitcoin and basically crypto markets. I've built some for Forex in the past.
Okay.
I actually got one running on Forex right now, so I'm familiar with that space. So I do plan on building an algorithm for the crypto space at some point when I have some time.
Like an automated bot.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's funny to say that. I just tried to get Gecko running yesterday.
Okay.
And man, I can't even get that thing running, man. I can't even get it started up right, let alone running. Man, it's so but I was doing the day trading thing, and I can't do it anymore, man. It's constantly watching the charts and watching the the ups and downs.
Out.
Yeah, it will. And I'll tell you what, this space is not for somebody with a weak stomach, man, because the volatility is so crazy. So
Yeah.
You know, but once
I would
you,
advise against day trading for
yeah,
most individuals unless you have some professional background in it.
right,
But even then, is that you'll burn out. So the best thing I try to do is I stopped doing that day trading stuff back. Tried it for a minute in equities, but I even tried doing it for about 3-4 years manually day trading in forex, and it will burn you out, man.
right, right. That's why I was hoping to get a bot up and running, so that way I can just let my computer do it for me, and I don't have to
Right.
worry about it. You know, yeah, I know
Yep.
there's definitely still risk when you're using a bot. There's always going to be risk, but
Yep.
you know, I'm not planning on manually day trading anymore, man. It's just
Yeah. Let's do it.
I
You're
would
playing
rather,
against the computers, and this market isn't as manipulated, but man, forex, man, those guys, they would. I mean, because they see your orders.
right,
So they'll slam the price down, take out everyone,
yeah,
stop everyone out, all types of stuff. So yeah, I wouldn't day trade.
yeah,
Find
yeah,
a bot, people.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Now, so spinning off of that, basically everything I have is just I'm just holding. you know, I have some Veritasium, I have some Litecoin, I have a small amount of Bitcoin. Actually, I don't have any Ethereum left because everything I had I just flipped into something else. But I got in on the pillar pre-ICO, and then again on the ICO. Now we're seeing the price is even lower right now on EtherDelta than it was during the ICO, which
Hmm.
I think that'll all settle out and it'll go back up, especially when it hits a major exchange. Right now, there's I think what 30 was it $32 million of I don't remember exactly what it was, but there was a
For
lot
filler?
stolen. Yeah, for Pillar. I don't remember the number, but there was a
Oh,
lot
wow.
stolen. I could be getting that mixed up with something else, but there was a lot of it stolen, and right now that's what's happening is people are selling off all their stolen pillars on EtherDelta to get to get Ethereum back in so they could. I'm sorry, that number was wrong. I think the 32 million was the I
The
think
raise?
I
Is
don't
that the
remember.
raise they
I think that I don't remember exactly what it was. It might have been, but yeah, that's what's happening. Regardless, is they're selling off all the stolen pillars. So it's kind of disheartening for me because that was really the first ICO uh, that I got into. Well, it wasn't the first, but that would have been the second that I got into. The first one was Salt, and I heard Big Sweer talk about that. I checked into it. They're set up a little strange. They just started taking Ethereum, but when I got in, and it was still during the pre-ICO, which I think is still happening now, they were accepting Bitcoin only, but the SALT tokens is an ERC20 token. So you have
Yep.
to send them Bitcoin to a personalized address that they assign to you, and then it tells you on your dashboard how many SALT tokens you have and what you bought in at, and I guess
That's strange that they did it that way.
it is,
You would
yeah.
think you would think they would just have a smart contract on Ethereum blockchain to
That's
just issue those ERC20 tokens right back to you.
That's what I would think. And I don't even have the tokens yet, I don't believe. I don't know. I have to find out. I don't like the way the company's structured. I won't lie. I'm actually trying to get them to do an interview with me.
Okay.
I reached out to them. I'd reached out to them before about getting my account approved, and they reached back out to me fairly quickly. I emailed them yesterday, so hopefully they'll get back to me. And I would like to do an interview with them so I can, I told them, I said, I'll put I haven't seen any interviews about Salt. I'll, put your company out there and, let you guys answer some of my questions so that people know. And it looks to me like on the dashboard, there's only 36% Salt tokens remaining. Now, I don't know if that's just in the pre-ICO or altogether.
Gotcha.
But, I bought it at an 85% discount, so it says. And that was at $1.50 a token. It's about to go up to $3. So that would tell me that they're supposed to go to $10, per token. I don't know if it's during the actual ICO phase or not, but I figured even if they don't go to $10 like they said, I could sell them to double my money, or I can hold on to them because it is a really great idea, so long as fiat money is still being used, because essentially you're giving your crypto assets to them to hold on to, and they'll give you a loan, and then once you pay off your loan, you get your cryptos back, and so as long as we're still using fiat money, it's a good concept.
I think we will. I think we'll all, fiat in the term of maybe not in today, like how we think of it, but I talked about this the other day. Canada is working on a sovereign cryptocurrency.
Yep.
So that's the direction that we're going.
Right.
With these countries, if they don't adopt Bitcoin, which I don't think they would, I don't see a government doing that. They lose all control, so they'll make their own, and they'll manipulate their own cryptocurrency.
Right.
But again, it's the same. It's just the same thing.
Just
it's
digital.
no different than what we have now with dollar and euro and pound and yen. All those. So same concept. Forever getting less in buying power over time. So
I agree with you on the fact that I don't think Japan has actually somewhat adopted Bitcoin.
But they won't. I don't think they'll ever use it as their sovereign currency. You get what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
I think adoption of it is going to happen. Of course, we in America, we're able to use it. They could have easily slammed it down.
Right.
So I think slowly but surely, I believe China is even talking about doing that. I did hear that China's talking about, and I heard that through Jim Willie.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys follow your subscribers follow Jim Willie, but he talked about the Voice, his Connect, saying that they're working on a renminbi kind of crypto hybrid thing going on. So, yeah.
I'll have to look into that. Now, kind of piggybacking off of that is, have you seen the 1988 cover of Economist magazine with the "Get Ready for a World Currency"? 2018. Now, that looks like that prediction might come to fruition because, I don't know exactly how, but I will say that it's going to be a digital currency. I can almost guarantee you that. At this point, it kind of has to be. But that's the agenda. The elites want a world currency that they can fully control and manipulate. Instead of having them to manipulate all these different currencies of all these different countries, they just control everything through a one world currency. And that's been, that's the first stages of that was, the euro, and then we were supposed to have the Amero over here, or at least there was talk of it, and they were trying to get that done, but the United States, I think as a whole, is not going to let that happen.
And that's where I have I've heard, the one world currency thing floating around for a long time, man. I just, as a previous former currency trader, I don't see like all countries getting on the same, like, I just can't see it happening from a monetary perspective, monetary policy perspective. I just don't see it being feasible. Because basically, when you have a one world currency and that everyone is using, they're not using any other currency, you can't cheat.
Right.
I can't, from a import-export perspective, U.S., as in the United States, I can't cheat and get an edge over China or vice versa. Really, China does that with us a lot. They devalue their currency so that they're essentially their exports seem attractive to us. So I just don't know how that would work. Now there is a IMF currency which is called the SDR. I think that stands for special drawing rights. currency, and that is like a basket of different. They've got commodities, they've got silver, I believe gold, they've got like the yen, the dollar, the renminbi. It's kind of a basket of currencies and precious metals that make up this FDR. Jim Rickards talks about it a lot. That's the closest thing I can see, but as far as everyone getting on board with a one world currency, I just can't see it from a currency, and that's just from a currency trader's eye perspective.
No, and that makes sense. And another possibility of what that could have meant was that because essentially Bitcoin is a one world currency. If you want to look at it like that, and that could have just meant that widespread adoption of Bitcoin.
There you go. That's what I'm thinking that's probably what they meant by that. So I'm going to go with them meaning something like a decentralized currency that can be used anywhere. That you can think of that as like a one world currency.
Right. So either way, I mean, I've been talking about that cover. A lot of people have been mentioning that for a while, and it's no secret. Like I said, we're going digital. And on that cover it shows the Phoenix standing on a burning pile of fiat money and paper money, and they want to go digital. Digital they can track everything. They want to get out of the
now. What
the
they may do is have their own version of, the G20 may get together and have their own version of a cryptocurrency that they all use, right?
Right.
So I can see that being the possibility. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I don't see any central bank, any government, any sovereign government being necessarily directly behind Bitcoin because it's open source.
Right.
It's decentralized. You can see the code. And, when I hear people say, we don't know who made Bitcoin, I can tell that where they, and it's okay, but I can tell where their level of understanding of how cryptocurrencies work, or how at least Bitcoin works, they're not fully there with that concept because it's open source. You can see every line of code there is.
Right.
There's nothing to hide. Like you said at the beginning of the interview, blockchain kind of exposes everything. So I don't think the government per se made Bitcoin. I think it was a group of individuals, not just one person. It couldn't have been one person unless this guy was like the next Einstein.
Right.
From a programming perspective, I think it took some really smart people to pull that off, and they did.
Yeah.
We're here.
Yeah, here we are. For all the crypto haters and the people who doubt the blockchain and this technology, this is not going anywhere. This is only going to thrive and grow. And it's like people compare it to the .com boom, and like you said, we are still in the very early phases because of how many people actually know about Bitcoin, let alone hold any. So this is like getting in on the ground floor, back in the early 90s of the .com boom, and we got like 800 different cryptocurrencies right now. The majority of them are going to go to the wayside eventually because they don't have a use case. They're just copies of other coins and other tokens.
I agree.
So, but out of those 800, rough number. I don't know the exact number right now because there's ones getting added every day. But
yeah, and then you got to realize, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, the 800, 900 tokens. Currencies or whatever they want to call them. A lot of those are tokens. Mm-hmm. So, tokens have their own use case.
Right.
And so those will be around, but yeah, your actual currency, cryptocurrency.
Right.
I don't believe there'll be many around in the next 5 years.
No. But out of those, we're gonna have the new, to put it in this kind of comparison, the new Amazons, the new eBays, the new Googles, of the new .com era. So, people who get in now who got in on the ground floor are going to be like people who, bought Google stocks the first day they were trading. And,
Exactly.
it's really exciting stuff, man. It really is.
It really is, man. We're in a great time. And I'm excited, man.
Yeah. One last thing I wanted to touch on before was, what do you think about all this stuff going on with populists? Because I didn't get in on the ICO because it ended so fast. It was there,
Man,
and
I
it just
was
wasn't.
so pissed about that, man.
I know.
I'll let you go ahead, but I just wanted to just chime in on that. I didn't get in either. I found out about it. I was out of town. I was in Seattle on business, and I'm like, I saw the report that Cliff put out the day before, and I'm like, oh, let me go, let me go try to get some of this populist.
Right.
It's like it was in pre-sale. I'm
Yeah.
like, all right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get the pre-sale.
Yep.
And I'm like, what the hell? The link wouldn't work. So then I found their Telegram chat room. I'm like, I can't get into your link for the pre-sale. Oh yeah, we're all sold out.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so when are you guys starting the regular ICO? Oh, we sold all our tokens.
Yep.
I said, that's not a pre-sale then.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they no regular ICO at all, and
Yeah, that's not a pre-sale. That's just an ICO. Like, if you don't have it capped, to me, I'm like, how is that a pre-sale? But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. I went and bought some on EtherDelta.
Okay.
There's a guy that I follow. I'll plug him real quick. Mike B on YouTube, and
Okay.
I follow him, and he was a big proponent of populist. Did a lot of videos on it, talked a lot about it. He was that was one, and he reads a lot of white papers, does a lot of research, and if something's not special, he won't put it out there and say,
Yeah.
So, populist is one of the big ones, next to Veritasium that he was really all in on, and so I missed out. Like I said, I went as soon as, I think it was July 9th, as soon as they started trading on EtherDelta when they released the tokens, I went and bought some on EtherDelta. And, a short time later, I don't know if you saw the Silver the Antidote interview with Cliff.
Yeah.
So, it got a lot of publicity, and, Cliff was really excited about it. Well, I don't know exactly what happened, but supposedly he tried to blackmail the guys at Populist and saying, well, they listen, I gave you exposure, you need to pay me for that, because I got somebody like Cliff High to do an interview, and they wouldn't do it. So he took his video down, and now there's this back and forth and all this drama. People, him saying that it's a scam. At least I think that's what he said. But, so now there's a lot of uncertainty, and the price went down, a lot. It's still well above the pre-ICO price, but at one point it was, I think it was 0.04 of an Ethereum it was trading at for one token, and I think now it's back down to like point 0.01 or 0.001. I don't remember the exact numbers. I haven't checked in a while, but I sold off on mine.
So that's what, 80 cents?
No,
or $8?
No, it was.
It was
sorry,
at $8?
they were at one point they were at about $6, I think, a token, maybe. And then
And what was the ICO for that?
the price they were selling at?
Yeah.
I don't remember, but it was less though. It was a lot less. So people made a lot of profit off that. But my point is, I don't know what's going on now with the legitimacy issues, and if it's it wasn't. I got a little worried and I sold off mine because I didn't want to hold it anymore after everything was going on.
Did you make a profit?
I made a little bit of a profit, yeah. But again, I didn't get in on the pre-ICO. I bought after the fact as soon as it hit EtherDelta, and then I sold off. It's funny because somebody put out a video, basically selling that he was. It was that guy Mike or whatever. He put out a video saying that he was getting out of it because, there's too much drama surrounding it. He's
Okay.
like, basically he's a grown man. He doesn't want to be caught in the middle of drama, and he sold it. And he said, I'm not telling you guys to sell it. I'm just telling you
Right.
why I'm selling it. You know, I'm not saying that I think it's a scam or whatever. I'm just telling you, listen, I don't want to be caught in the middle of drama. I'm selling off my tokens, and I'm not making another video or mentioning Populist anymore.
Wow.
And so a lot of the Populist holders were his subscribers. So as soon as I saw that video come up, it was about midnight one night, I jumped on EtherDelta and sold my Populist. And man, the price just tanked. And back from where it was, it tanked. And you know, now, you know, it's a little, like I said, it's been floating around. You know what? Let me bring it up real quick for you.
Okay.
Hold on one second here.
You know what? I just wonder why you do that. You know, people. I think we're very excited about the times that we're in as far as the ICOs and such. But people have to understand, man, it's not normal to get a 10x return on anything
Right.
in a month or a week or like this. These are not normal returns.
Right.
And I think people are jaded right now because they see these gains, these profits. It's, man, I mean, even 3x is excellent. Like,
Yeah.
you need to take your money, at least some of it off the table, your principal, and you know, and move on and keep the rest in, you know, let the house money run and just, you know, go find another coin or something or a token. But, you know, people holding all position in 10x, 11x, like what the hell else do you want? Like,
Right.
if you want to become rich in something, you got to put up bigger money.
Yep. Yep.
You can't expect to make $1 million with $1,000 investment.
Right.
You make $1 million with $50,000 investment, $20,000 investment.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
So,
100%. And you know, it's funny because, you know, that's 100% true. But then you have like the case of Veritasium where, you know, like JSNIP4, and that, just so everybody knows, like you said, that's a rarity for something like that to happen, man. That's
a rarity.
That's like,
That's a rarity.
we may not ever see that again. You know.
May not.
So,
those are your outliers. Those are
right.
your anomalies. Those are your one-offs. So
right. You know,
people should not necessarily expect that on every ICO. And even to give to Jay Snip's credit, I mean, he didn't put, you know, he put $6,000 in.
It might have been less than that. He said between three and 5 or 3. I think it was 3 and 5 or 3 and 6 or whatever he said. He wouldn't say the exact number, but yeah.
Right. So I mean, that's a decent amount of money to put into one ICO, in my opinion.
Right.
So you still, you know, and he put it in on the right one. You know?
Yep. That's for sure. You know, and he sold at 3 to 1. You know, and he still has some of them left, he says, but he sold at 3 to 1. Now they're 1 to 1. So, you know, he cashed out $100 grand.
You
almost.
Can't get all the, what I call it, you can't get all the chicken.
Right.
You can't get all the chicken.
Yep.
Man.
But yeah, real quick, I'll just so people can see this on the screen here. It's right now Populist is at 0.0113. Now it was at 0.04.
Ooh, okay.
And at one point, you know,
75% haircut from where it's high.
Yep, and it was you know, it was up around that price for a little bit, and then it was it probably cut down by 50% once that video was made, like I told you about. It probably cut down about 50%, because that's where it was floating around at. That's about 0.025. I want to say 0.026, maybe even a little bit higher. But you know, there's too much uncertainty, and it's such a great concept too. It's really sad that that something like that had to happen with this token, because that's another industry right there, the billings, you know, invoice billings industry, you know, and that concept that the Populist platform has, where, you know, you can essentially loan companies money to you know, pay their invoices, and then you get paid back with interest. So you're getting, you know, basically you have a passive income depending on how many tokens you have. So
absolutely,
you know,
so that's that for me going forward, because we're in such an ICO frenzy. When I look for ICOs now, I'm looking for either dividends being paid.
Yep.
Somehow through the ecosystem, those tokens being used within the ecosystem, and dividends being paid. And you got to look for ICOs as what Cliff says, that are building railroads, building the infrastructure, not the actual trains.
Right. Yeah,
So,
I agree with that.
just, you know, guys, keep that in mind when you're looking for ICOs going forward.
Yeah, I don't see anything coming up in the near future that catches my eye. You know, I think I like
Kick or Kin.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah, I do like Kin. Because they have a large user base already, and if they implement Kin tokens into, you know, the Kick app or the Kick software, then, you know, that could be a good thing. There's supposed to be a huge supply, circulating supply of these tokens though, and I don't know if they came out with a date yet, but that was one.
They've come out with a date yet.
Yeah,
it's going to be a huge supply, just because of the nature of what those tokens are going to be used.
Right.
Very readily, like you know, like how Steam it. You know, it's a platform, so those tokens are going to be readily used. So you need a huge flow, a huge supply. But even with that, I'm assuming the price of the ICO per token is going to be very low.
Right.
You know, maybe a penny, sub penny.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't looked at their white paper or anything.
Yeah.
But you still have room. You should be able to make a nice return on that.
Yeah, I'm gonna look into that one more, and if any, you know, that was gonna be probably the one that I go with if I participate in another ICO. But right now, kind of my strategy is holding. You know, if I, you know, certain ones like my Bitcoin, if I see it hit a top where I think there's going to be a pullback, I'll sell it off. And then, you know, it's always that gamble. Is it going to pull back and how much? And then, you know, I'll buy back in and just kind of make a little bit of money. But other than that, man, the stuff that I have, I'm just holding it. And, you know, we'll see where the future takes us.
I mean, that's a good strategy, especially in this growth. We're such in a hyper growth phase in cryptocurrency. So you can't even go wrong with just holding whatever, or what they call hodl.
Right.
You know, you can just hodl what you have, and you'll still come out a winner.
Right, right. All right, well, I want to really thank you for coming out and doing this, man. And maybe we can, you know, depending on your schedule, maybe we can do this once every few weeks or once a month or something like that, man. I really, I think the viewers would like that. I know I would, and you know, I think it would be a cool thing to do.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate the time. Your energy is cool, so I'm good with that, man. And your visitors, your viewers can reach me on Steemit at CryptoBlood. I'm also on Instagram now at CryptoBlood, Twitter at CryptoBlood _ after the word, and then YouTube CryptoBlood. Check me out.
Excellent. Definitely, guys, subscribe to CryptoBlood. He's got a lot of good insight and a lot of experience in the crypto world. So, you know, it would benefit you to subscribe to this man's channel and listen to what he's got to say. So, again, I want to thank you for letting me do this. And, man, have a good rest of the day.
All right, CryptoBlood. I'm out. Holla.